Hello! So, I have finished the trading post for June. Actually managed to get everything done in a day because I focused mainly on the event. I was finally able to take advantage of the time walking that was going on. So, in the past, it always ended up kind of mismatched. I either just missed an event that was going on between when the trading post started and when the event ended, or something was just to begin and I didn't want to wait that long. So a lot of things for the trading post end up being like middle end of the month. And as I've said before, I think a lot of people tend to do a lot of this at the beginning of the month and just kind of get it over with. So, and at this point, you kind of already know what to do. So I just, when I know it's coming, depending on when the first is, because it does start on the first, whenever that is, I will just wait before I do anything. And then do all of my regular weekly things. And that pretty well helps either move things along or completely finish it off. So that was what I did this week. So Burning Crusade time walking is what was going on. So complete one time walking dungeon, gather herbs and ore. So I just learned a profession on this character. This was a new character I was leveling. And then just flew around and gathered 50. It's not too long. So, and you can do herbs or skin or fish. So, whatever profession you would prefer, which is kind of nice. I've tried fishing. Fishing does seem to be kind of tedious at times, the way it works, depending on what level your fishing is. But the others tend to be kind of a one for one. So you mine, you get however many it got. It didn't take too long to get to 50. So I went to Hellfire Peninsula and farmed. There we go. Fell iron ore, so ended up with exactly 50, which was nice. Defeat 3 pet battle tamers, so I just did 3. I started with the one in Shattrath and then just flew around to the ones that were the yes, still working on that. Yeah, so just one in Shattrath, the one in Nagran, and then the one in Singer Marsh, and that was fine. And I used my Storms team, which you can see is still dead there. So, yeah, that worked perfectly fine for all 3. I was actually higher. I know the one in Shattrath is like level 23. So yeah, I didn't have any problem. They're not that difficult to defeat. And then from there, so defeated raid bosses. So hopped on 2 characters, so you just needed 5. And that was an easy 100. So I did the Mactherodon's lair, which gives you 1 because it's just Mactherodon. And then came to Blade Edge Mountains and did Gruul's lair, which gives you 2. So I did this twice. So that's what gave me my 5. Alternatively, you can run like the Black Temple or what is the I believe Sunwell Plateau. I believe this would count because this was part of BC. Pretty sure it counts as part of the Crusade. Yeah, Sunwell Plateau. Karazhan. Black Temple. So there's things you can run if you're trying to farm something specific. I've already got the legendary bow, so I really have no reason to go to Sunwell. I need one more Warglaive, which will not drop it. I just didn't feel like dealing with Black Temple. Karazhan. I don't know if I actually still need anything from there. So yeah, so I knew there was 2 short ones, so I just did that. No big deal. Just kind of, instead of doing the Tollbard, where you have the 3 bosses, I'll typically run that a couple times. I just did those shorter ones, so worked perfectly fine. Complete quest in Outland. So just went out. Like I said, this was a new character, so I already ended up with 5. I'm assuming it was from doing dungeons. Yeah, I think it was probably doing dungeons. I ended up with 5, so I just went out just wherever I was and did 15. So I know I did some over here, like the whole upper part of Nagrand here. There was a few quests where you had to defeat enemies, which was kind of fun, and then flew to... Where did I fly to? Somewhere... I think... over here, because I remember I was pretty close to Shavrath. Yeah, I think I actually went to Shavrath and picked up a quest, which took me back into Nagrand. And did a few quests there. I was leveling, so I wasn't exactly and I may or may not have went to Chromie, and I think I switched to Battle for Azeroth. So I don't think I was in the Time Walking. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. So I said that to say I was leveling, so I wasn't max level. So it was a bit wasn't as easy as if I was higher level, but I was able to get through it. So been playing as a tank, so if nothing else, it was just longer. I was able to survive through most anything, and then just slowly kind of burn down whatever target. Some of the boss fights for the first part there that I mentioned were a bit difficult, but like I said, as long as I was able to survive, I could just kind of burn them down over time. And then, of course, complete 5 Burning Crusade Time Walking Dungeons, so just went ahead and did that since I was leveling. Complete 2 daily quests for the Nightfall event that's going on. Defeat 5 raid bosses, so that, like, doubly counted for some reason. I think I was... Yeah, defeat so some of these count towards the event, and some of these count just in general. So this is the one I would normally do where I'd go to Tollbard on a couple characters. Complete a delve. So I've been doing that each week. Earn reputation throughout Kazalgar. So I'm still doing the dailies or the weeklies in the Undermined. So that got me to 3,000 pretty quick. I know, like, when the Emerald Dream was out, it would take forever, it seemed like, to get your reputation. Not at all. Just went through, did the the weeklies where you have to go to the zone and do your like 4 quests, whatever they are, and then the ones where you run around the Undermine doing like the shipping and handling and those. And that got me to 300 pretty quick. So then upgrade using Valor Stone. So this was the last thing I did. I ended up with 995 for some reason. So just went ahead and did this. I think this gave me 50. So just upgraded something on my druid who's been running around Undermine doing all the weeklies and the world quests and different things. So I always end up having a lot of Valor or being close to maxing out my Valor because you still only can have 2,000. Defeated world boss, so just did the Gobfather. Found a character that was level 80 that could benefit from the gear. I kind of stopped doing the world boss because none of my characters actually got any gear from it, so I just couldn't really convince myself to put the effort in for it. And then of course doing time walking, I got the defeat 25 raid bosses, complete 25 quests, complete 10 quests. So I just kind of kept going with it because as soon as you finish 5, you're halfway with 10. As soon as you finish 10, you're halfway to 25. So yeah, and that is. And I can show you. I did everything for, which I think is a first. I don't think I've been able to go through and just pick one thing and just work on it. So yeah, so there you go. So that got me through June. The reward is a mount. Very nice. And we'll move this down here. So kind of like these. Kind of a new take on a mount we've had in the game. So and if we look, there was a person. Yeah, as I say. So there's like 3 different versions of these now. So this green one was the store mount, which is not bad. And then the red one was the bonus reward, and then the blue one you will see in the shop here momentarily. So, and then there were a couple other mounts as well. It's a bit of a hodgepodge, I would say. It was supposed to be Burning Heart, but for some reason they went with like a fire and ice theme. So there's the blue one there, which I might go ahead and grab because I do kind of like that. I do like all 3 versions. And then there's the Cold Flame, Lavaborn. So this is kind of all they do. They just make 2 sets of the same thing, just one in blue, one in red, and then for some reason a random goat. Which you do have to notice. So the Cold Flame is 700. The goat is 325. So I think they figured out people were not going to spend 700 on a pretty basic goat model. So, and then there we go. So there's your blue, there's your red. Very nice kind of Sunwell Blood Elf themed weapons here, and they kind of went with like a fire shadow kind of theme. Which I guess does kind of fill out the event. Like, even though this is a red set, like it just doesn't. I do and don't like it. If these were maces, I would probably be more inclined to get them. Not a big fan of axes or the guns, really, which is disappointing because I have been trying to ranged weapons a bit more since I'm doing more with my hunter. And of course, your shoulders. Another headpiece there with both appearances with and without the face guard. Then some more of these kind of leggings. Another mask, which I hardly see anybody wearing. Yeah, if we hide our armor, there we go. So there's, well, they call them slippers, but a panda is really the wrong character to be looking at footwear on, because they don't really wear feet. And then the returning is one of the beach sets. There we go. Which I don't mind. I think I bought every other set when these originally came out except for this one. And then a battle pet, which I assume was the battle pet for this original. Just kind of random to throw that in there. Then a colorful beach chair. And then, yeah, so bought that set. And then the hoverboard, which was the first one. So I think there's 3 now. There's one in oh, what is it? There's one in there's this one.
Spirits bless you.
There's one that's a reward from oh, it's not going to show me because I'm not high enough. But the shore, wherever the shore. Let me see here. What is it called? Siren Isles. There we go. Could not think of that. There's one there, and then there's one, I believe, in the Undermine. That is an achievement. It's either an achievement or part of the Black Fuse. I can't remember. But yeah, I think the only thing I'm going to get it really is the mount. That is the only thing I am interested in. I sadly really don't like these helmets as much as I typically like headpieces. They look very kind of wannabe Ghost Rider, which I like, but I don't think I'm ever going to use them. I think I will grab these. I'm not interested in the Void one so much, but I don't really use daggers that much. Like I said, if these were maces, I'd be more inclined to get them, but what? That's a pole arm, so sadly it will sheathe. I don't know why they started doing this again. This is the one thing they need an option for. Is whether you want them down or whether you want them right side up. But I will go ahead and grab it nonetheless. I think we're getting closer to finally just getting this divers set at some point, which actually does look nice on my panda. Although I was noticing it does put a little spot for your tail, which this is supposed to be a diver suit, so that is highly impractical. But I'm overthinking it at that point. So I'll spend 800. No. There we go. So there was that. View cart. Yes, I am fine with that, because I do kind of like this staff, and I think that'll go well with the heritage armor. So, should be able to look like a guard. And I haven't spent, this will be like the third, the last 2 months I haven't bought anything, so don't mind doing
Goodbye
that. So,
now.
yeah, so there you go. So, before I forget, let's... You have new items, yes. And you're gonna make me unbox the other mount, aren't you? Yes, of course you are. There we go. Drag you over here. I don't think that's a terrible animation. Not the biggest fan of the Chimera. I think that's what they're called. Type of mounts, but I don't mind that. That little bit of extra animation is kind of nice. And that's kind of a nice flying animation there, so. Their soaring animation's kind of nice, and then the blue one, I imagine, is just exactly the same. Yep. So, it's kind of nice to have two mounts that are different variations, just in case you change your transmog. I mean, I don't think the red looks that bad with the blue, but I most likely will change my transmog again. So, between now and level 80. So, yeah. So there you go.